All right, children, it's time for a story from the Nexus Spiritual Bible. Once upon a time, there was a powerful leader who led hundreds of people up a mountain that was said to be magical. And there were men on high pedestals at the top of this mountain who were said to be capping the success of all the people in the lands. And they were the type of people who had the last say in all situations. Amazing. They traveled up the mountain through creeks, up huge boulders. They walked along steep cliffs until they got to the men on the high pedestals they had been told were there. And the leader of all the people confronted the men on high pedestals and said, "We must all elevate as a whole. There's so many problems that are happening amongst the people because of nose ring, the lack due to ignorance and greed and the unwillingness to learn." Take a left. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll let the cat back in later. He'll be back. Sit down. We're not finished with the story. Damien. And then the men on high pedestals said, "Oh, really? How are all these problems that you're speaking about being created?" And they said, "Well, we did some research, men on high pedestals, and we came to find out that we must overcome the obstacles in which have been created to keep us from elevating." And the men on high pedestals said, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then the leader of the hundreds of people said that he can have one of the people explain how this affects them. And they started to explain how this affected them. And then the next person chimed in with, "I have that problem too, plus blah, 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 blah." And the next person chimed in, and the next person chimed in. It was almost like a vicious web. Every person that had spoken had a problem somebody else had also experienced, plus more. And the problems added up in front of them, and the men got nervous and said, "That's it. I've had enough. I've heard enough. Go away, people. You're small little people, and you created these problems yourselves." And they turned and walked away to tread back down the treacherous mountain with no hopes of moving forward any farther as one whole humanity. No, I didn't. And the leader of the hundreds of people stood there by himself in front of the men on the high pedestals, and he said, " You see, That's the problem. That's the problem right there. You guys are unwilling to face the problems. As soon as the heat kicks up, you pour water and put the fire out. But why? He says. Upset. Why do you guys put out the fire that will burn what no longer needs to be and allow the universe to grow its seeds it has in line to be planted? And all the men on high pedestals then looked at each other and said, "What the fuck is this crazy man talking about?" And the man who was the leader of the people said, "You guys are fucking retarded." And then that started a new fire within the souls, the hearts of the men on the high pedestals. And they said, "Who the hell are you talking to like that?" And the man who led the hundreds of people said, "I'm talking to you guys.
You should stay.
You're the reason the whole world is experiencing destruction and unhappiness. And you are choosing to ignore the fact you only care about your own happiness, men on high pedestals." And then the man in the center with the highest pedestal took out a gun and shot the leader where he stood, and he bled out onto the ground. And nobody gave a fuck because nobody seen it happen except the men on the pedestals. All the hundreds of people were already a bit of a way down the mountain and they didn't see what happened. And it was too late by the time they had looked back to see if their leader was behind them or not. And when they turned back to look for their leader to see why he didn't follow them down the mountain, they seen him dead, cold on the ground. And they started to cry. And the men on high pedestals said, "Let that be a lesson to you all, to shut up when I say shut up." The end. Well, god damn, that was quite the story, children. You see, stories in the Bible are for mature people. And if you couldn't handle that story, I wouldn't tell it to you. I know you guys can handle that story. Now, what are you guys going to do when the men on high pedestals tell you guys to shut up? You're going to be smart. That's what I thought. It's time for bed now. Cozy up. Get your little...
This is sacred land.
Cuddle animals. And I'm going to put on some meditation music.